I'm Corbett Wall with DV Auction, here with your feeder flash for Thursday, May the 9th, where it's a coincidence, but on Wednesday, I-29 opened north of St. Joe, Missouri, leading up to Council Bluffs, Omaha area there. Been closed ever since that big flood come through around a month ago, a little more. And it's been kind of hard to get north and south right there in the heart of the Midwest with that major thoroughway closed up. But I-29 is open back up. Things are getting kind of back to normal. And then we had a shoe drop on the other foot. I-35 south of Wichita was closed down with heavy rains forcing water over I-35, and I don't remember that happening, at least not in recent memory there. But south of Wichita there, but as you're going down towards Oklahoma City, but still in Kansas, I-35 shut down with a lot of water running over the highway there. But you look at what happened in the markets, your retreat continued. We had a little bounce there on Tuesday when the market come up a little bit. Wednesday went right back to going down, and just nothing really to prop it up. I guess our next closest hope is maybe getting something done on this China deal. Supposedly here on Thursday they're going to get something done. If they don't get it done by midnight, then Trump's going to enact more tariffs. And you guys don't lose faith in Trump. You know, everybody's down on him. That's all you hear. I see on social media some people that I never thought would kind of talking bad about him, saying he's not the farmer's friend and all this. At least he's thinking about the farmer. He's thinking about the long run, guys. And you've got to hang with him. You know, you've had to make some tough sacrifices in your dealings if you've been successful sometime in your life. He's working through those. I bet you that he gets something done here. At least continues the talks and gets something going for them. And they need us a lot more than we need them. He knows that. He's the only one got balls enough to make them toe the line here. So we're going to see what happens. But hang in there and keep supporting old Trump. He's on our side. Let's look at the board for Wednesday. June live cattle futures down $1.20, 111.07. August down 167 at 107.40. May feeder cattle down $1.52 at 135.77, and August down $1.72 at 143.87. I tell you what, these losses are really starting to mount. And your fat cattle market continued to fade. You know, we had quite a bit of trade on Tuesday. We established your market in the Southern Plains at 120 on Tuesday, and mostly at 195 in the Northern Plains, but a little bit lower with some more trade on Wednesday. About 5,800 head confirmed in Iowa from 120 to 122. Mostly it was all 122 on Tuesday, but on Wednesday 120 to 122. Still a nice basis there. I guess if you're rooting for the basis, you were happy that the board was down over $1 because that give you another $1 of breathing room there. But on your dress trade in Iowa, 190 to 194. It was mostly 195. I suspect most of that 190 was for down the road. Not this week, not next week, but probably the next, towards the latter part of May. And we've been kind of trading like that, 190, 192, 193 for late May here for the last 10 days or so. But Nebraska, about 20,000 head confirmed in Nebraska on Wednesday. 120 to 121. Can't even get to 122 in Nebraska anymore. And they're kind of reverting to the Southern Plains market of 120 with several sales at 121. And dress trade in Nebraska 189 to 194. So a little bit lower than what I was getting. A little more cleanup trade in the Southern Plains, 2,800 head in Kansas, 119 to 120. Can't keep it all at 120 anymore. And just continuing to fade, and the guys are picking up that basis, putting it in their pocket. It's helping them break even and maybe make a little bit of money there. And that's good. They've got to do that. But I tell you what, we are losing market position and losing it fast. It just continues to erode. And we're going to get this cash market down there, and then the board's going to fail. We're going to get these live cattle futures down the road so cheap that you can't buy any feeder cattle that will hedge. Box beef cutout values down big again this time. On Tuesday it was most of your choice that took the brunt of the losses, and then on Wednesday it was the selects. But on Wednesday close there, choice cuts 223.01 down 86 cents. Selects 207.49 down $4.34. Wow, and now choice select spread of $15.50, but a big movement again of 181 loads just on Wednesday. Slaughter 362,000 through Wednesday. That's 1,000 more than the same time a week ago and 3,000 more than the same time a year ago. Let's talk about your feeder cattle markets. Of course, your cash feeders continue to erode also. You look afternoon on Wednesday, and I'm doing this report or recording it a little bit early because my friend Jim Felton and his dad are coming through as they've been delivering the last of their bulls from the big Felton Angus Ranch bull sale, and he has free delivery all over the country, and he's been running the wheels off delivering all those bulls, but going to be staying in Amarillo tonight, and he and I are going to get together. Real-time index late on Wednesday, 135.39 down $1.68. Your big sales on Wednesday, OKC West and El Reno, Oklahoma, had a little over 5,000 head of feeder cattle on Wednesday. Remember, they had about 1,000 calves, which is really light for them on Tuesday, but 6,300 or so for the two-day sale. Feeder steers on Wednesday, steady to $2 lower. Feeder heifers were steady. Had a few calves around steady. They called it a steady undertone, but if they'd had proper training like I did when I was with USDA Market News, you never have a steady undertone. Your undertones are either higher or lower. If you don't have a good test and it's steady, you say steady in a light test. I don't know if they still train those people there or not. But storms also hurt the receipts there, as a lot of guys weren't able to get cattle in. If you were around the Texas Panhandle, western Oklahoma, all in the southern plains, on Tuesday night, you were literally dodging tornadoes. They were all over the country, and big bursts of storms with hail and a lot of rain and then spotty, but all through the country. And as you watch the national weather, it continues to move on east and going to be plaguing a lot of the people in the southeast, and that seems where the worst of the tornadoes are these days. When I was a kid, they were all right here in southern plains and southwest, but now they've moved over to the southeast, and those people just keep getting hammered with these tornadoes. But OKC West did have a couple of loads of really high selling, thinner fleshed, good quality yearlings there. And look at this one quote come through Cattle Market Central: 61 head, 838 pound thin flesh steers, 142.75, and you can't get that for most of them, guys. It has to be a special deal. Dodge City, Kansas, lighter run there. You know, they had all that rain in their country too, and it washed out a lot of consignments that were coming in. Only 1,400 head in Dodge City, and Winter Live there, they did not have a good test of the market. Just a few deals here and there, and wasn't enough to test. Going to give you several individual quotes. Bassett, Nebraska. Had a good quote on light calves up there. 62 head of 528 pound steer calves, Bassett, Nebraska, 189.70. And that's a big quote there. But if you remember, earlier in the week, they had one about the same size of calves that was $2 or $3 higher than that out of Lexington, Kentucky. So it just depends on where you're at and what the local demand's like. But you can sell calves pretty much all over the country. But that's a good quote out of Bassett. Give you another quote out east there. Russell County Stockyards, Russell Springs, Kentucky, can sell yearlings also. 62 head of 875 pound yearling feeder steers in Russell Springs, Kentucky, bring 133.60. Now I'm going to have a little correction here. I want you guys to always be able to trust my quotes, but once in a while even I'll make a mistake. I think that's the second one I've made in the last 5 years. But I quoted Humiston, Iowa, and saw a quote come through Cattle Market Central. They were doing some testing. They actually didn't have their first sale. It's been closed for quite a while up in Humiston. Been waiting for them to open up. I knew it was going to be this week, but I wasn't sure what day their sale was anymore. But they put some quotes through the ring or in their system, and they looked pretty lifelike to me. And they fooled me with a load of steers there weighing in the light sevens at 160. that was not a real deal. Those were some testing they were doing with their clerk system to make sure they were up and ready to run whenever they had their first big sale on Wednesday. Didn't see any quotes like that come through on Wednesday. But at the same time, I neglected to quote our top quote on Tuesday, which come out of Glacial Lakes Livestock in Watertown, South Dakota. This quote is so high that I didn't believe it. It was at the hour. I didn't have anybody I could contact about it, and I just thought it was a fat-fingered deal. This would be the highest quote I've seen since this market took a dive, but it's a real quote. Got confirmation on it. But at Glacial Lakes in Watertown, South Dakota on Tuesday, they had 113 head of 668-pound steers at $181.50. Wow. That's your feeder flash for Thursday.